Let me ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with yourself right now. Think about the last time someone treated you badly. Maybe it was a friend who kept lying to your face. Maybe it was someone at work who talked down to you every single day. Maybe it was someone close to you, someone you actually trusted, who made you feel small again and again. Now here is the real question. Why did you let it happen? Not once, not twice, but again and again. You stayed quiet. You told yourself it was not a big deal. You said things like, "It is fine, I do not want to start drama, maybe I am overreacting." And every single time you did that, you handed that person more power over you. You think you were being kind. You think you were keeping the peace. But the truth is, you were giving someone a detailed map of exactly how far they could push you before you even flinched. And today I am going to show you exactly why that keeps happening, how to stop it, and how to take back the control you gave away. Because here is something most people never tell you. Disrespect is not something that just falls out of the sky. It does not happen by accident. It grows. It grows in the silence you keep. It grows in the excuses you make. It grows in the space you fail to protect. And if you have been wondering why certain people in your life keep treating you like your feelings do not matter, the answer is not complicated. The answer is that you taught them they could. I know that sounds harsh, but stick with me because this is the thing that actually changes everything. For most of my life, I genuinely believed that being a good person meant accepting things. I believed that if I was kind enough, patient enough, understanding enough, people would eventually return that energy. I thought that was just how life worked. You give respect, you get respect. Simple, right, wrong. Because every time I stayed quiet about something that bothered me, I was not being the bigger person. I was teaching the people around me that my feelings were optional, that my time did not matter, that my boundaries were just suggestions they could ignore. And the more I let that slide, the more they pushed, not because they were evil, but because I was showing them, through my actions, that there were zero consequences for doing it. And this is not just something I figured out on my own. A man named Machiavelli, who lived in Italy over 500 years ago, spent his entire life studying power. He watched rulers rise and fall. He watched good, kind men get destroyed by the very people they were generous to. And after watching this pattern repeat over and over, he wrote something that completely changed the way I see relationships. He said this: "Disrespect grows where resistance is absent." Let that sink in. Disrespect grows where resistance is absent. That means disrespect is not something that just happens to you. It is something that grows around you. It fills up the empty spaces you leave open. It expands into every area where you choose silence over truth. You are not a victim of disrespect. You are the environment in which it thrives. And if that sounds like a gut punch, good, because that gut punch is also the first step toward freedom. If you created this situation, even by accident, you have the power to end it, right now. Today, but only if you are willing to stop tolerating the behaviors that have been silently draining your power this entire time. And that is exactly what this video is about. Before we get into it, let me be very clear. This is not about becoming a cold person. This is not about revenge or holding grudges or becoming bitter. This is about one thing and one thing only: control. Control over your own life. Control over who gets access to your time, your energy, your attention. Most people never take that control back. They spend years hoping things will get better on their own. They wait for people to suddenly decide to treat them right. They believe that if they just keep being patient, karma will handle the rest. It will not unless you make it happen yourself. So today, I am walking you through 7 specific behaviors, 7 very real, very common patterns of disrespect that you should never tolerate. Each one of these is a test, and the way you respond determines whether you keep your power or silently hand it away. Pay close attention. By the end of this video, the way you see your relationships is going to be completely different. Let us start with the first one: accepting lies. I know what you might be thinking. Of course I do not accept lies, but here is the thing: most people do, not because they are stupid, but because they choose comfort over confrontation every single time. Here is how it works. Someone says something to you that does not quite add up. That little voice in your head says something is off here. You feel it, you know it, but then the other part of your brain kicks in. It says, maybe I am reading too much into this. Maybe it is not worth the drama, so you let it go. You do not say a single word. And in that moment, without even realizing it, you just sent a very clear message. You said, I will accept this, I will let it slide. And that message is louder than anything you could ever say out loud, because now that person knows lying to you works. And once someone knows that, the lies do not stop. They get bigger, they get bolder, they get more frequent. Because every small lie you let slide becomes permission for the next one. Machiavelli watched this exact pattern throughout history. He noticed one thing every single time. The lies only stopped when someone actually had the courage to call them out. Silence is expensive. It costs you respect every single time. But here is the part most people get wrong. They think calling out a lie means getting loud, yelling, creating drama. You do not need any of that. All you need is clarity. The moment you calmly and directly point out a lie, the entire dynamic shifts. If the person is honest, they will apologize, explain, and course correct because they value the relationship more than the lie. But if the person is a manipulator, the reaction is completely different. They will get defensive. It will try to make you feel crazy for noticing. They will twist it so somehow you are the one who is wrong. Either way, power goes back to you because now you have information. Now you know exactly who you are dealing with. The key is timing. You have to address it the first time, not the third time, not after you have talked to 5 people about whether you are overreacting. The first time, because every lie you let slide makes the next one easier to tell. You are not keeping the peace by staying quiet. You are training a liar, so when you catch it, keep it simple. Say something like, "That is not what happened. Here is what actually took place." No yelling, no accusations, just facts, and then watch. Whatever they do next tells you everything you need to know. Respect that only exists because you pretend not to notice things is not respect at all. It is just control wearing a mask. The second behavior is emotional put-downs disguised as honesty. This one is sneaky because it does not sound like an attack. It sounds like advice. It sounds like a joke. It sounds like someone just being real with you, but the result is always the same. After you talk to this person, you feel smaller. You feel less sure of yourself. That is not honesty. That is dominance disguised as caring. Here is how to spot it. Do not focus on the words they use. Pay attention to how you feel after. If someone gives you real feedback, even if it stings, you walk away feeling motivated. You feel like they believe in you. But if someone delivers an emotional put-down wrapped in nice words, you walk away feeling deflated. You feel attacked. You feel like you need to defend yourself. That feeling is your gut telling you the truth. These people know exactly how to deliver a criticism that sounds like concern. And they have a shield they use every time you try to call it out. They say, "I am just being honest. I am just trying to help." That makes it incredibly hard to push back. Machiavelli warned about this exact tactic. He wrote about advisors who would slowly chip away at a ruler's confidence, not with big obvious attacks, but with small, subtle comments. Little by little, drop by drop, the confidence erodes. And once it is low enough, control becomes effortless. So here is what you do. You pull that person aside and you say clearly, "When you speak to me like that, it does not land the way you think it does. I need you to communicate differently." Then you watch. Some people will apologize and adjust because they genuinely care. Others will turn it around on you. They will say you are too sensitive. They will say you cannot handle the truth. Perfect. Now you know exactly who they are. Walk away without guilt. Because your confidence and your self-worth are not up for a group vote. You do not need anyone's permission to protect them. And you certainly do not need to keep spending time around people whose favorite hobby is making you doubt yourself. Number 3 is ignoring boundaries. A boundary is simply a line you draw. It is you saying, "This is what I will accept and this is where my limit is." But here is what makes boundaries so powerful. They do not just protect you, they reveal other people. Anyone can say they respect you, but the moment you set a real boundary, you find out immediately who actually does and who does not. The people who respect you will honor it even if they do not love it. The people who do not respect you will test it. They will push against it. They will make excuses. They will act like they forgot. And if nothing happens when they do that, the message becomes crystal clear. Your boundaries are optional. Machiavelli said laws without enforcement are meaningless. The same is true here. You can set a boundary perfectly and communicate it with total clarity. But if you do not back it up with action, it means nothing. Here is how enforcement works. The first time someone crosses a boundary, you address it immediately, not with anger, just with calm clarity. You say, "You just crossed a line I set. That cannot happen again." Simple, now you watch. If they apologize and adjust, great. But if they do it again after you clearly told them, that is not a mistake anymore, that is a choice. They are choosing their comfort over your boundaries, and at that point you withdraw access, not eventually, Now, you create distance. The level should match the violation. Maybe that means no more one-on-one time. Maybe it means surface level only. Maybe it means no contact. But there must be a consequence. Anything less is weakness disguised as kindness. And yes, the first time you enforce a boundary like this, you will feel guilty. You will wonder if you are being too harsh. Do not listen to that voice. Because every time you let a boundary violation slide, you teach that person your boundaries mean nothing. People respect those who protect their space. People take advantage of those who do not. The fourth behavior is letting people waste your time. Time is the only thing you can never get back. So when someone repeatedly wastes your time, when they are always late, always canceling, always breaking promises, hear me on this. They are not doing it by accident. They are placing themselves above you in a very deliberate way. Think about the people in your life who do this. Now ask yourself, are they late for everyone? Or do they somehow manage to show up on time when it is someone they actually care about impressing? Because people who waste your time are not bad at time management in general. They are bad at time management with you specifically. And that tells you everything about where you rank in their world. When someone shows up late consistently, what they are really saying is my time is more valuable than yours. When someone breaks a promise, they are saying other things matter more than what I said to you. When someone keeps you waiting constantly, they are saying I set the pace and you adjust. These are not accidents. These are messages, and they keep sending them because you keep receiving them without saying anything. So you address it once. You say calmly, I need you to respect my time. If you commit to something, I need you to follow through. If something changes, let me know ahead of time. One clear statement, then you watch. If they adjust, great. If the pattern continues, you stop being available. They want to meet, you are busy. They need a favor, your schedule is full. You mirror back to them exactly what they showed you, that your time has value and not everyone gets unlimited access to it. Some people will wake up and step up. Others will call you cold. They will say you changed. Let them, because the people who respected your time never had this problem in the first place. Number 5 is selective accountability. This is one of the most frustrating patterns because it is so hard to pin down. Here is how it works. When they mess up, there are always reasons. They were stressed. They had a lot going on. You need to understand where they were coming from. But when you mess up, nothing, no understanding, no benefit of the doubt, you should have known better. They get compassion. You get criticism. They get second chances. You get reminders of every mistake you ever made. And the worst part is they make it feel normal. They make you feel like you are the unreasonable one for noticing. They make you think maybe you are too sensitive, too demanding. You start questioning your own perception of reality. And that is exactly where they want you. Because a person who is constantly second-guessing themselves is incredibly easy to control. Machiavelli understood this. He wrote about how unequal rules create dominance automatically. When one person plays by different rules, they are not just being unfair. They are building a hierarchy, placing themselves at the top and you at the bottom. And they are doing it so smoothly you might not even notice until you look back and wonder how you ended up carrying all the blame. Here is how to spot it. Pay attention to apologies. Do they actually change behavior or do they repeat the same pattern next week? Pay attention to blame. When something goes wrong, who is responsible? Is it always you? Pay attention to standards. Are you being held to expectations they do not meet themselves? If there is a clear imbalance, you are in a selectively accountable relationship. And the hard truth is, you are not going to fix it by talking. You can explain it perfectly. You can give examples. They will still find a way to make it your fault. They will say you are keeping score. They will say you are being unfair. So do not waste your energy. Just leave. Walk away from dynamics where accountability only flows in one direction. The sixth behavior is dismissing your standards. The moment you decide you deserve better, the people who benefited from your low expectations are going to push back hard. They will call you difficult. They will call you cold. They will say you are setting yourself up for loneliness. They will make you feel like the problem is not their behavior. The problem is your expectations. And here is why they do this. Your standards are a direct threat to them. If you have been accepting the bare minimum and you suddenly decide that is not enough anymore, it means they actually have to put in effort now. They have to be consistent. They have to show up and prove they value you. And for a lot of people, that is too much work. So instead of stepping up, they try to talk you out of having standards at all. They will say nobody else has these kinds of requirements. They will say you are going to end up alone. They will make you the villain for wanting basic respect. But here is the truth they do not want you to see. Your standards are not too high. Their effort is too low. You are not asking for perfection. You are asking for consistency. You are asking for the same energy you give to be returned. That is baseline. But to someone who has been getting away with less, baseline feels like climbing a mountain. And instead of climbing it, they would rather convince you to come back down. Do not come back down. When you raise your standards, you start filtering. The wrong people fall away. The right people show themselves. Let the wrong ones leave. Let them call you difficult on their way out. Let them paint themselves as victims of your unreasonable expectations. You do not need people who think basic respect is too much to ask for. The right people will stay. They will respect your clarity. They will put in the effort because they want to. Those are your people. And you will never find them if you keep lowering the bar to keep the wrong ones comfortable. The seventh and final behavior is one of the most important on this entire list, testing you after you speak up. Here is what most people do not understand. Setting boundaries is only half the job. The real war happens after, because the moment you speak up, people do not believe you right away. They wait, they watch, they test you, not in an obvious way, quietly, subtly, just enough to see if your words actually meant anything. Maybe they show up late again, but just 10 minutes instead of 30. Maybe they make one small dismissive comment instead of the full attack. Maybe they cross a line in a way that is barely noticeable. They are checking, they are measuring, they are asking themselves, did this person actually mean it, or can I still get away with what I was doing? And your response to this test determines everything, the entire future of that relationship. Because if you let it pass, if you ignore it, disrespect becomes permanent. They now know your words do not match your actions. They know you will talk about boundaries but will not enforce them. They know if they just wait, you will go back to accepting everything. And once they know that, they own you. They will push further every single time. But if you enforce it, if you actually follow through, the whole thing ends right there. They show up late, you leave, no waiting, no excuses, you leave and let them know why. They make a dismissive comment, you address it immediately. We talked about this. What you just said was not respectful. We are done here. They ignore a boundary, you withdraw access. No second warning, just distance. This is not cruelty. This is clarity, because power is not something you declare. It is something you demonstrate. You can set boundaries all day long. You can communicate your needs perfectly. None of it means anything until you show them you meant it. Action is the only language that matters here. Words are noise. Boundaries are suggestions until you prove otherwise. But consequences are real. When you enforce a consequence after someone tests you, you send a message that cannot be ignored. I meant what I said. Try me again. Most people will stop testing after that. They will adjust because the cost of disrespecting you is finally too high. The ones who do not stop, they remove themselves, and you let them go because the test was never about them. It was about whether you value yourself enough to protect what matters to you. So here is where we land. Here is the truth that ties all 7 of these together. Disrespect is not forced on you, it is allowed. Every single pattern we talked about today exists in your life because at some point you gave it permission. You stayed quiet when you should have spoken. You forgave when you should have walked away. You gave another chance when what you should have given was distance. I am not saying this to make you feel guilty. I am saying it because it gives you power. If you allowed it, you can end it. Right now, you do not need to argue. You do not need anyone's approval. You do not need to explain yourself to people who already decided not to respect you. You just need to act. Protect your time like it is the most valuable thing you own, because it is. Enforce your boundaries like your peace depends on them, because it does. Withdraw access from people who keep proving they do not deserve it. The people who adjust, who step up, who show you through their actions that they value you, those are the ones who deserve to be in your life. The people who resist, who fight you, who would rather guilt you into lowering your standards than meet them, let them walk, because that is not cruelty. That is understanding that real power does not come from what you accept. It comes from what you refuse to tolerate. That is knowing the difference between kindness and weakness. That is choosing yourself fully and without apology, when everyone else is busy choosing themselves too. Now, before you close this out, I need you to do something for me. If anything in this video made you stop and think, if even one of these 7 behaviors hit close to home, drop a comment below right now and tell me which one hit the hardest. I genuinely want to know what you are going through. This is not just a video. this is a conversation. And second, share this with someone who needs to hear it. You already know who that person is. Maybe it is a friend who has been putting up with things they should not be. Maybe it is someone in your family who blames themselves for everything. Share it with them. Because sometimes the thing that actually changes someone's life is not something you tell them directly. It is something they hear from the right source at exactly the right time. And if you are not subscribed yet, hit that button right now, because this is only the beginning. There is so much more coming, more uncomfortable truths, more patterns to expose, more power to take back. But only if you are ready to stop being the person who tolerates everything and start being the person who actually controls their own life. The choice is right in front of you. Make it count.